By definition, slavery is a person who is the property and wholly subject to another, or a bond servant. That was the case with my great 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 grandmother Eliza Wagner. Eliza Wagner was from Africa, most likely a West African country, because commonly that is where most slaves that were brought to America came from. She was brought to America by a German slave owner whose name is not known. When brought over on a boat, she went to South Carolina. These boats that slaves traveled on had horrible conditions. There was very little space, the air was not clean, and there were many other reasons. But because of these conditions, 1/8 of slaves died being transported by boat to America. When she arrived on U.S. soil, she went to the plantation that her slave master owned. Plantations were areas of land where slave owners had their slaves farm crops such as cotton, coffee, tobacco, sugarcane, sisal, and some oil seeds, notably oil palms. She, being a female, would have worked in the slave owner's house, either cooking, cleaning, or helping with the owner's kids. Housing conditions for slaves were very poor. Slaves lived in shacks or small huts that they had to build themselves. These huts resembled the ones that they lived in back in Africa. Their houses were small, and sometimes 10 people would have to share a hut or shack. The slaves' beds were made out of straw or old rags. After several years, eventually, slavery was abolished. And due to the civil rights movement, African Americans gained equal rights and were respected as much as a person of any other race. The civil rights movement was a time period between the 1950s and the 1960s when African Americans protested against discrimination against them. Some prominent faces of that movement are Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, and W.E.B. Du Bois. Black on black murder, papery murder, black on black murder again. At first, the movement wasn't taken seriously, but after a few years it gained national attention and African Americans slowly but surely got their equality. It's a celebration of black excellence, black tie, black Maybachs, yeah. In modern times, racism is much better than when my grandmother was alive. I thank her for this. Because of her struggles, now I am able to live a better life. Sheepskin coats, I silence the glam. Do you know who I am, Gladys? No cheap cologne, whenever I success never smells so sweet. I stink of success, the new black elite. They say my black card bear the mark of the beast. I repeat, my religion is the beat. My verse is like church, my cheese is peace. Now please, domino, domino, only spot a few blacks to hide.